What's up, everybody? Today we're reviewing the Haro Saguaro. What's up, everybody? We're here at Coler Preesrve in Bentonville to review the Haro Saguaro. This is a hardcore hardtail. Let's see how she does on jumpy flow. Oh, wow. This bike is fast. Maybe it's the tires. Man, this thing is super fast. My brakes aren't even bedded in yet. Oh, manual's nicely between those doubles. All right, getting a feel for this. A little chattery through there. Interesting. Excited to tell you what I'm feeling. Man, this thing is fast. Holy cow. Gotta be those tires. Man, this bike is seriously quick. All right, on one short little 20-second trail, and I can already feel this is a stiff frame. The seat angle's not quite as steep as I'd like. I feel like I'm reaching for the bars, even though this only has a 445 mil reach. Now, reach is not measured when seated, and if that's news to you, you would definitely benefit from my mountain bike geometry course. Came in at 32.1 pounds with my pedals. It retails at time of filming for $3,999. These tires roll super fast. Why are more people not speccing these Kendas? This has GX wireless access transmission. The latest, I won't say greatest, but it's the latest drivetrain. I'm not a huge fan, but I know a ton of people love it. It was smart of Haro to put that on here. Everybody's wanting a UDH, and everybody's mesmerized with transmission, especially those that haven't ridden it yet. Let's see how she does on a little bit of flow. Very BMXy, like a BMX race bike. How when you pump, man, or when you sprint or push off of something, has really good power transfer. But you can even hear how stiff this frame is. You can hear the wheel kind of skipping across stuff. Man, this bike is so fast. Bike's easy to control. You got a 140 fork up front. Yeah, this bike just makes me feel like a BMX race bike when you're running like 90 PSI and you're just diving everywhere and racing everywhere. Man, this thing is quick. Man, even on this climb, I can feel how stiff this frame is. Sounds crazy. You definitely feel it. This would be awesome for like dual slalom or four cross or BMX, where you just step on it and it rockets forward. But I have a feeling even here in Arkansas, it's gonna be a little bit harsh for me. And that's why these reviews are so important, to see how the frame actually rides, not just what it looks like on paper. This bike also comes in a very cool neon pink, but this green is growing on me. It's pretty cool looking. So why don't I like transmission? What I don't like is that it has to wait for the perfect revolution to make the shift. Usually when I want the shift, I want it now, not in 5 feet. And if I'm shifting 2 gears at once, it's more like 10 feet. And there it took 3 or 4 full rotations to shift 2. I often shift 2 or 3 at a time. I'll be like bump, bump, bump. And with the previous axis, it just goes. With transmission, it waits till your pedal's in the perfect spot, and that means it's got a noticeable delay when shifting. I don't know why other reviewers aren't mentioning it, because it's a huge downside in my opinion. Now we're just kind of on a regular trail to see how this does as a trail bike. Feels a little bit heavy for this type of thing. It just feels like it takes a little more energy to get going. This bike wants speed. It encourages you to put everything in race mode. It's like a wild Mustang that does not want to be tamed, does not want to ride chill. It wants to fly, and it does well when it's going fast. All right, this is a tricky climb. I need to shift. Boy, that's a pain. Even just shifting in place takes a while. Okay, this is really hard, especially on a hardtail. It's just lumpy, rocky, momentum stopper, and it's pretty steep, so it's hard to keep your momentum going, and then you get these rocks that you stop. On a great hardtail, you can kind of hop and maneuver it through and still motor through, but some hardtails really struggle on this. Let's see how this does. I'm really curious. I'm hopeful. Man, it accelerates so quickly. All right. Wow, okay, that was really interesting. Because it puts down power so well, I was actually able to get out of trouble a little bit by accelerating hard. It sounds like the smallest thing, like our hardtail's really flexing enough where you're not feeling power transfer. I think so. When I just stood up and stomped it, I had a bad line, but because it rocketed forward, I could keep it over that. Man, really nice parts spec on this. From time to time, these go on sale, and when I see sales, I'll put a link in the comments below so you can find that and save a little money. This bike really, really wants speed. It's a little boring right now. All right, had a little rock strike back there on my rim. I kept letting pressure out because the ride's fairly harsh, but now my pressure's too low and I'm getting rock strikes. Every bike has a personality, and I try to capture that in my reviews. I hope they're helpful to you. Here's a little bit of ice. Yikes. I'm getting a lot of high frequency vibration though. Like, it just feels like my tires have 5 to 10 PSI too much in them. And it's not the tires, it's the frame. I got a goal this year to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please help me meet my goal. That helps me get better bikes in for review, helps companies see that people watch this stuff, helps me meet my goals, and it doesn't cost you anything. So thank you in advance for subscribing. Okay, it's not like unwieldy. Whoa. But I'm fighting it a little bit. The brand Haro brings back so many memories. My first real mountain bike was a 90s Haro Extreme. I remember my first real BMX race bike was a Haro, and how proud I was to ride that. I'm so glad to see Haros in the mountain bike game. Let's take some up close looks at this. Very burly. That is really stiff when these two big boxed tubes. This thing is huge. Really big square. It feels like a Santa Cruz with how big around that is. Just that long stiffness of this tube, and this tube coming together. There's no flex in there. And you actually feel it, even though the fork's pretty soft and the tires are soft, that still transmits quite a bit of vibration to your hands. Strong gussets here. I'm glad they didn't go with a big seat tube gusset there. They kept the seat tube nice and short, but unfortunately it curves pretty soon. So you're only getting dropper insertion to about there. I would have liked to see this a little straighter. It looks good. It's a good looking line on the bike, but functionality, it limits your dropper to there. It's got interesting through the chainstay cable routing. The direct mount transmission straight to the frame looks really clean integration there. These are just massive, massive tubes, and that contributes to when you put on the gas and it just goes, it transmits forward motion. Really beefy, strong yoke in here. Reminds me of my old Team Haro BMX bike. This is kind of interesting in here. The cable routing for the brake comes out of the chainstay. It's like only internal for like 4 inches. Let me show you the other side. It comes off the lever into here, down through here, then it pops out here. Then it goes into the chainstay yoke for about 1 centimeter, comes back out, and then back into the chainstay to pop out here. I guess if you're gonna have internal routing on your brake anyway, you're disconnecting it, so that's not a big deal, but man, that's a lot of sharp curves. It's tidy and it keeps it out of the way of your crank, which is really nice. But that just seems a little interesting to do that instead of just have a zip tie mount right there to hold it there. It feels like those are making some pretty sharp bends, but the brakes are working just fine, so it's not really a problem. It just really caught me by surprise when I saw that. I've never seen anything quite like that. This is such a stiff yoke. You can see the stiffness they've built into it. You can definitely feel that. For like dual slalom, when the gates drop and you just pedal your brains out, this would be awesome for that. Dropper routing's pretty standard. It comes out here, comes in here. Over here, we've got a big blob of aluminum that didn't attach right here. I don't know what that is. It isn't really a beautiful weld there. The graphics are awesome. I really like the Saguaro name, Haro Saguaro. And I just think they're subtle but really cool. It makes you proud to own that bike. Fox 36 with a Grip 2 damper, beautiful fork, zero complaints there. The TRP brake, I feel like they're a little underpowered for how clunky they are. One thing that I don't love is how the TRP and the SRAM are fighting for the same space there. I want to push this inboard a little, but I'm hitting the bolt there. So just kind of a interesting interface between the two of those. This thing is just an attack fighter jet that says, don't you dare touch the brakes. Please sprint into that. Push it even faster and harder. You don't have to brake as much as you do on other bikes. It just holds its line really, really well. But despite the 29-inch wheels, this is still an agile frame that doesn't feel like 29ers from 5 to 10 years ago where you're fighting to control the thing. Very intuitive control. All right, here we are atop a faster trail where this thing will come alive a little more. Here we go. Man, it corners so well. I just feel like I can run higher G's in these corners than I can on most bikes. Just sticks in those corners. Totally a BMXer's mountain bike. I really like these tires. Man, my legs are cramping just from the stiffness. It is a little bit harder to hold my line, getting rattled a little more. This thing loves berms that you dive bomb into. Not love rock gardens. This is a big G out. This thing is aggressive. I still haven't gotten it in its comfort zone. I need to go even faster than that. This is a chattery bike. You can just hear it. Feels like I'm running 40 PSI in it. It's just every micro bump's translating to me, transferring to me. It feels like these Specialized fuse. Just a very stiff frame. The reason I talk about stiffness so much is because that's one of the things you can't judge online looking at the build spec or the geo or the price. You don't know if it's going to be soft or stiff. And some people want stiff bikes and some people want soft bikes. Lighter riders under 160 pounds, this bike is going to be really hard for you to ride. I've ridden over 120 modern hardtails, more than anyone else I know. And if you want to pick my brain on which one's right for you and your riding style and your budget, I have a bike consultation service over on Patreon. I'd love to help you over there. Now, I'm being pretty critical of this bike because it's a $4,000 hardtail. The spec is really good, but I recently rode the Marin San Quentin 3 here. It's less than half the price of this bike. And for my needs and preferences, I'd rather have a comfortable frame than something that's ultra racy. And so even if the Marin was $4,000, I'd pick the Marin over this. Seeing that the Marin's half the price, kind of a no-brainer to me. I think a lot of people focus too much on spec because it's easy to do an A and B comparison to see which one's better. Part of my bike consultation service also involves helping you with used bikes. If you find a classified ad that you're interested in, send it to me. I know the specs. I can see how worn it is. I've been able to save a ton of people a lot of headache by steering them away from bad used bikes and give them the green light on the good bikes and the good deals out there. And there are some great deals to be had right now. So I'm at the top of the climb, about to go down, and I'm thinking, who is this bike for? This bike is for people who charge and attack the trail. I think people who are really strong, a strong upper body that can just muscle this thing through chunk. I don't think this is the ideal bike for a lot of riders, but for that small, narrow set that are doing gate starts or racing or have a lot of berms or slalom or just charging, searching KOMs, I think you're gonna click with this thing. All right, we're gonna take Copperhead Road, a chunky Black Diamond. Yeah, this thing just says, please give me 2 more pedals. I need a little more speed, and then it totally wakes up. I think aggressive and super fast riders are really gonna like this bike, but if you're not, and you ride timid or just kind of medium speed, I don't think I ride aggressive enough for this thing really to come alive. Man, it's crazy how one little pedal will just instantly boost you up to speed on this thing. It's a pretty good technical climber. Geo's easy to toss around and easy to hop up stuff. Oh, this is exhausting. Now, most people aren't riding hardtails on this stuff, but I like to for the review. I actually really like this trail on the right hardtail.